Hey everyone, this is Tara. I am going to be documenting my journey through my test knit for Kentucky Knits for her Oread pattern. At least I hope that's how it's pronounced. Oread. I think it's Oread. I could be wrong. So I just started yesterday afternoon. My yarn that I'm using is Yarn Bees Must Be Merino in the color Blush. This color is so beautiful, and because I love the color so much and the yarn is very soft, I'm really enjoy working on this. It's hard for me to put it down, and I really need to get my husband's sweater finished. So we'll see how that goes. This is the DK weight. It is 50% merino wool, 25% acrylic, and 25% nylon. So really, that's not too bad. This is $6.99 a skein, and I got it for 30% off. So I think on the whole, this sweater will cost me, I just had this figured out. Like literally wrote it in my notebook to keep track of, like, okay, I don't remember, and it's too early in the morning and I haven't had enough coffee to do that math. But I bought this yarn to make this sweater, and I bought another sweater quantity's worth of yarn, and both altogether it was around $40. In fact, I think it was like $38 and something cents. So for $40, I got 2 sweaters worth. So that works great. Anyway, you're not here for that. So I just cast on last night. It is 9:08 in the morning the following day. And so for day one, this is kind of like my progress that I have. So I'm done with the split hem. It said I'm making the smallest size that she has in the pattern. And in her pattern, it just says to cast on, but it doesn't say what method to use. And so I just wanted to try something. I wanted to do the tubular cast on following the Shibui website's step-by-step tutorial. So I did a tubular cast on. So on the wrong side, it doesn't look too bad. It is a twisted rib at the hem, which means my tubular cast on does create somewhat of a border. And I don't think I kind of like it. Like, it doesn't bother me. So I think I'm going to keep it. And what's really cool is, so on the side, now I'm not very far along. So as I make more progress, this will start to kind of stand out a little bit more. But there's going to be like a faux, I guess I should hold this more like this. There's going to be a faux seam here in the middle with pearls and knits. That's what's creating that effect that it's seamed, and that's really nice. And there is going to be a very small, well, I say very small, it looks wider here, but there will be a lace panel here that it's going to come up the middle of the body and then split to a V-neck. And I've never made a V-neck sweater, and I've only made 2 other bottom up sweaters. So this is exciting for me. I am very much enjoying this a lot. And like I said, the yarn's wonderful to work on. And a detail that she has put after the hem is an eyelet row. So you have your hem, your eyelet row, and then you start on the body. And it's so pretty. I'm very much enjoying this. I only had to tink back one time when I was setting up, let me find it, when I was setting up my panel here after the eyelet row, then I needed to place my markers, and I had miscounted and I had to tink back and kind of fix that, but that was super easy and it took no time at all to fix it. So I'm super, super excited about this. I'm using size 6 needles, I swatched. So I'm kind of not a rule follower, I guess, when it comes to swatching, because I swatch it, see what my gauge is, figure out, do I like this fabric that it's creating, and kind of play around with it that way. And then once I figure out what my like fabric formula is, then I take out the swatch and I just start knitting the sweater. So, oh well, it works out for me. I like it. So the pattern calls for size US 6, and then when I get to the neckline and the armbands, then I'll drop down to a 4 as recommended in the pattern. Like I said, this is a test, so I want to make sure I follow her pattern precisely as she has written it, unless there's just something that is not working. And then I like to knit my sweaters on really, really long cables, so then I can try it on and see how it's fitting, and I just really like it that way. So I have markers, I have stitch markers. The yellow is for the panel, the pink is for the side faux hem, and then I'm kind of got tangled here from throwing this around. I'm not sure what I did. What did I do? Be kind to your knitting. Oh my God, I'm all tangled. I'm not sure what happened here. Okay, I know what happened. I got tangled with my ends. And then I have on this side, here's where this side panel is, but then this is my beginning of row. So my beginning of the row is where my needle splits. So I do a traveling loop, and wherever my loop is, that's where the beginning of the row is. And I just really like that because it's one less thing to kind of keep track of. I don't need much else than that. So anyway, there we go. This is the beginning. So like I said, I cast this on yesterday afternoon and worked on it off and on throughout the rest of the evening. And then I just started doing the lace paneling. Like I'm literally on row 2 of the lace chart. So that's our first check-in. This is check-in 2. We are moving right along on the body. It is about 1 week from the first check-in, roughly around the same time in the morning. I just wanted to do this really quickly. I've made quite a bit of progress on the body. The pattern calls for the body to be 14 inches. I might modify that. 14 inches might be longer than what I would want in order for me to wear this garment. And so I will go with my own desired length. And then everything else, though, I've done to pattern. I had a couple of slip-ups in the lace, and I know where I can point out where they are, but I didn't tink back or drop down stitches to try to fix them because they weren't so like terrible that I just couldn't go on. Like, if you can't really tell. And so something else that I did is, remember I said I used yellow stitch markers for where the lace panel is. I did switch this. So you see I kind of have a rainbow here. And that's because the lace pattern has 4 rows. And so I have 4 different colors. So, and they go in rainbow order. So I know red is the first color of the rainbow, so that's my first row. Orange is the second color of the rainbow, so that's my second row. And so every time that I'm knitting in the round and I get to there, so like I just finished a row 2 on this next round, I'll drop down to the yellow and put the yellow on my cord, and that'll be row 3 of the lace repeat. And that has been really, really handy because I don't have a printed copy of the pattern. I'm only doing it on my row counters app that I really, really like. But I don't want to be on my phone. And especially for the body section, and the body will take longer. This is the smallest size. The pattern, the intended garment is supposed to have about 4 inches of positive ease. And this, we'll have to see if I get some positive ease once I block it out. Right now it's going to be kind of more fitted, but Rachel had already knitted her sample in, I think, the 2nd size, which is what I normally would have picked. And I didn't want to say, hey, I'll knit the same size you did, because when you're getting a pattern tested, you want to make sure that all the sizes work out. So that's why I volunteered to do the smallest size. And if it doesn't fit me, then the good news is that I can find a really good home for it if it doesn't work out. But I know my mom's already asked me if I'm keeping it or what I'm planning to do with it. I don't know if that's like a subtle hint that she would like it, or she was just curious. I don't know. So I'm at the point now where after today, I need to make a decision of how far I want to knit the body. Like I said, I don't think I'm gonna do the full 14 inches. I need to pull out some sweaters that I love wearing and kind of see how long I've made them. So that's the check-in. So hopefully by my next check-in, I will have split for sleeves and maybe the front and back done and be ready to cast on for the sleeves. That will probably be my next check-in. So this is what we have. Only one last time for check-in 2. And here's the back. It's just a plain. I am loving this. It's the perfect recipe for something a little interesting, which is our lace panel, and then the rest is stockinette, so it's really mindful and like meditative. I really like it. So okay, so this is check-in 3. Check-in 2 was on Friday. Today's Monday morning. So everything that I'm going to show you is what I accomplished over the weekend. I am at the end of my 3rd skein. At the very end of the project, I'll calculate in total all the grams and yards that I used. So here is where I am. So the body is completely done, and I have started on the left sleeve. Okay, so there was some short row shaping up around the shoulders. Here's the V-neck into the lace. Now there will be a neckband to go around. So the neck is not finished. The sleeves, you pick up stitches. You're supposed to pick up an even amount of stitches. When I was done picking up, I had an odd number, and so what I did is as soon as I started my first go around, I just knit 2 together and went from there. So on these sleeves, you just knit straight until you get to the length that you want, and then you start your cuff. So it'll have kind of a fuller sleeve at the bottom and then the cuff. Right now, it is form fitting, but I have not wet blocked it yet. So when I wet block it, I'm gonna try and stretch it out sideways a little bit to give me a little more positive ease, which is what the intended style of the sweater calls for, about 4 inches of positive ease. But it is fantastic. I am very much enjoying knitting this. It has, like I've mentioned before, just the right amount of simple and interest. So it's great. I'm flying through this sleeve. I only started this sleeve last night. After I put our youngest to bed around between 6 and 6:30, and then knit until about 8 o'clock. So that's quite a bit of work on a sleeve. I mean, I was just flying through it. So there's that. Now, our fourth and final check-in, I think, is going to be when the sweater's all complete and blocked, and I'm wearing it to show you what it looks like. So fingers crossed that it blocks out okay. This is our final check-in. The sweater is completely finished and washed. I was able to wash this in the machine on the delicate wool cycle with cold water, and then I laid it flat to dry, and I think it turned out really nice. I was able to, just by laying it flat, kind of stretch out the sides a little bit so that now I do have the positive ease that I was looking for. And I wanted to show that on the sleeves you knit completely straight and how pretty that fullness at the cuff is. I love this. There's something very feminine and pretty that I really, really enjoy about this. And I actually enjoyed the twisted rib. I kind of go back and forth with it sometimes, but I really loved it. If I scoot closer, so what I like about this, hold on, before I scoot in closer, is I feel like I can dress it up and dress it down. So just to be extra and fancy, like I can put on one of my favorite necklaces where this is like a statement and together. I really like how they work, but I know that's not for everybody. If you're curious about the necklace, I got it at Kohl's, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago in the juniors section for like $12 or something like that. Like, it was really cheap. And so if I have statement pieces like this, that's kind of how I prefer to get them. But on days when I don't want to wear full body armor, I just have a striped tee, just a V-neck tee underneath. It does look really pretty with a crew neck also. And I'll have pictures on my Ravelry page where I show you my like ultimate favorite way to style it is with a high neck white blouse with a little bit of lace and eyelets with that necklace and then this. So if I scoot in closer, you can see where the lace panels come up, and then there's the V-neck. I am wondering, I probably should have blocked the V-neck lace out a little nicer. It looks a little squished compared to the body part, but I know that when I'm wearing this, and I really like the ribbing at the neck, it's like when I'm wearing this, this is how I would wear it. Like with my hair is gonna be right here, covering it up, so it's not that big of a deal. The only modification that I made in the entire pattern was shortening the length of the body. That was it. Everything else is knit according to what Rachel has written into the pattern. And I am so happy and pleased with how it turned out. There are some kind of little small imperfections and mistakes that I made, but that's part of crafting something with your hands. It's not perfect. And so that's one thing that I just love. I love the personality behind hand knitting. So let's talk a little bit of math. I used about 974 yards of yarn. That's 429 grams in this particular yarn. So if I would have paid, so I bought 5 skeins of Must Be Merino. Oh my gosh, my brain blanked, I apologize. So I bought 5 skeins of Must Be Merino in blush. And if it wasn't on sale, full price retail would have been about $35, but I bought it when it was 30% off. So it ended up costing me about $25. So I thought that was really great, $25. And I feel like when I buy a yarn that is cheaper or inexpensive, I feel like I'm more willing to risk take and experiment and play. And that's kind of for me the most fun. If I purchase yarn that is more expensive and finer in quality, I can feel like myself kind of holding back and being scared, and I'm not willing to risk any chance with my knitting. So that's part of why I like inexpensive yarns, because I feel like I can play and risk take. And you know what? If it doesn't turn out, it's not a big deal. But, you know, you can make, you know, inexpensive materials look really nice too. So let me see. I kept it in this tote bag. I have 71 grams left over, so a little less than 3/4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up making a hat and put this pom-pom on top. And I got this pom-pom off of a hat I was getting rid of and donating, and I thought, well, they can take the hat and I'll take the pom-pom. So my plan is to use my Japanese Stitch Bible and knit the hat pattern that's in there and put the pom-pom on top. And I'll either keep the hat, but my gut is telling me that I need to gift knit it, and I have somebody's particular in mind for that. So I had 71 grams left over. My price per yard of yarn for this sweater was about 2 cents. So every yard that's in this sweater would cost me about 2 cents. I don't know why I like finding out that number, but I do. So I even do price breakdowns, like when I'm looking at full skeins of yarn, to figure out, you know, if people say, you know, some stuff is just so expensive and all that stuff. Well, when you break it down to price per yard, then you kind of have a more informed idea and impression of what it is you are actually paying for. So I do encourage you that if something seems risky price-wise, maybe a little out of your comfort zone, and you don't want to pay that much, break it down price per yard and see if in your heart, if you feel like that's reasonable or not. So that's it. And I think I'm gonna cast on another one, because in my second podcast, this was not the yarn that I mentioned. So I think what I'm going to do is actually make a second one. And since this was the test sweater, it's done, it's completed. I've told Rachel what I did. I've sent in some pictures and stuff like that. What I'm gonna do is kind of take the pattern and play around with it a little bit, because now I can just play. So this is Oread by Rachel Compton. It is beautiful. And let me scoot back a little bit. There's the bottom of my t-shirt. Don't let that bother you. So you can see, like, I think in my second one, I might even go a little shorter to where it just covers my belly button, but keep the bottom hem really long. Jackie from Caddy Jack's Knits knit a linen version of Andrea Mowry's Weekender, and she played with that split hem and made the back more dramatic, and I really, really liked that, and I think that would look nice with this sweater too. So that's everything. I can't get enough of these sleeves. This is my kind of a sleeve. And something I was nervous about, last thing, and then I'll let you go. But something that I was really nervous about was with the dropped sleeves, the ridge that you get where the body and the sleeve are connected. Like when you go to pick up stitches, my pet peeve with that is whenever that seam is really pronounced and not laying flat and smooth. For whatever reason, it bothers me. So I was kind of nervous, and I just was like, it's gonna block out, it's gonna block out, it's gonna be fine, it's gonna block out, it's gonna be fine. That's what I kept telling myself, and it did block out. And it is just fine. So that is, one more time, Oread by Rachel Compton, or Kentucky Knits on Instagram. So you can go check out the pattern and check out her project page on Ravelry and see if this is a sweater that you feel is made for you or designed for you so that you can make it.